Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm here to talk about my monthly goals. This is our first official monthly goals check-in video of 2022. Obviously, I posted lots of videos talking all about what I had set for 2022 goals, one about my annual goals, one about my Q1 goals, and then one about my January action items. And that is where we're gonna start today. I'm gonna start by sharing how my January action steps went, which ones worked for me, which ones didn't, which one I just went ahead and crossed off at the beginning of the month, but really before the month even started, and what I'm carrying over into February. And then I will share all of my action steps for February as well. So starting with the monthly action items, my first one was related to my Plan with Laken revenue goal, and that was to hit the monthly revenue goal. I talked about this in my annual goals video, right? I have an annual goal broken down, quarterly goal, and then a monthly revenue goal for each month related to the business, and I did hit that for January. The next monthly action step was to gather testimonials. I think I talked about this a little bit more in my quarterly goals video, where one of my quarterly goals for Plan with Laken is to revamp the sales pages on my website. So I have pages that explain the services that I offer, speaking, one-on-one coaching, the course, Patreon, etc. And I just want to give them a little bit of a revamp. And one of the small steps I was going to take in January to help me get there was gathering testimonials. And I did that for the one-on-one coaching. I kind of organized those, but I didn't do it for any of the other services yet. I'm not terribly concerned that I didn't get it done in January. I will jump to it in February. There were a lot of things going on this month, and that was one of the things that didn't happen. The next monthly action item was to organize my friend list, or my friend list of people here in New York that I want to spend time with as a part of my overarching spend time with friends and family goal. And I went ahead and did that. I just did it in a sticky note on my computer. It's pretty easy. And I kind of got specific. Like, there are some couples that we hang out with, and I would like to hang out with them as a couple, but then I would also like to hang out with like my friend that's part of the couple one-on-one and some things like that. So it was a very easy step for me to take in January, but given how many other things I had going on this month, I liked that some of my action steps were somewhat easy wins. The next one was to organize birthdays. I also did this digitally on a Google spreadsheet that I then shared with Sam. So what I did was I put the name, the month, and then the day. That way it's easier for me to sort and filter on things. I have a column for address, and then I have a column for ideas. So that way, if I think of ideas for other people during the year, I can go and jot it into that column. And then I have a column with like a little checkbox that I can check it off once I have purchased and sent and delivered the gift to them. And then the next monthly action step was to organize cards, which I did that as well. This was another kind of small win. It didn't take me all that long, but I was able to go through the cards that I keep because I felt like I shouldn't get rid of them. But I was a member of a card subscription for a while, and some of the cards that came in that subscription were for like holidays that I would never actually send a card for. So I really just kind of trimmed it down to thank you cards, birthday cards, and then like the blank ones. A lot of them, I think I mentioned this in another video, are like old Erin Condren and Cultivate What Matters greeting cards that I'm trying to clear through. And then I also have some cards that are specific for specific people. Now that I'm saying this out loud, which is one of the reasons I love filming these videos, is I always get something out of this. Like, I always come up with an idea or something I didn't realize. The cards that I have that are specific, like I have had this birthday card for my mom for I don't know how many years. And then every year I forget that I have it, and I go buy her a new card and give her a new card. I am gonna put that in my birthday spreadsheet. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the idea column, like, you already have a card for this person. And then the last monthly action item related to that birthday goal, overarching goal, was to start a gift idea list. And I went ahead and also did this in a Google spreadsheet. So I have a tab that is ideas for specific people, which now that I'm saying that out loud, it feels like really redundant. Why can't I just go put it in the idea column of the other page? And then I have a tab that's just general ideas of things that I've seen in various places or screenshot on my phone, and is like, that's a really good gift idea in general. So even though I did a lot related to that goal this month, I still have a couple other things, couple other adjustments that I'm gonna make. The last monthly action item actually related to this goal, not the last one, was to actually do the January birthdays. And I know you're looking at this thinking, how is that not shaded in Laken? January is over. And the problem is that I ordered something online that I thought was gonna get delivered before we went out of town. That was for like, all my January birthdays were like the last week of January. And so I thought, okay, if it gets here before we go out of town, I can put them in the mail and it'll be good to go. I ordered like the same thing, but different for different people. It's hard to explain without giving it away. And I still haven't put them in the mail as of the filming of this video. And so in case any of them watch it, I don't want to give it away. But not only did it not get delivered before we left, but it wasn't here when we got back. And we've had a lot of package theft issues, and it's a heavy product, so I had it shipped to the apartment instead of to the UPS store. Big regret on that one. So now I'm waiting for a replacement to come and all the things. So anyways, have not quite finished the January birthdays, which will explain a little bit one of the action steps for February. All right, the next monthly action step was to book our honeymoon flights, and we did that, and we are so excited. We haven't really planned anything else related to our honeymoon besides the flights, but we are going to Thailand at the end of the summer. Just because of other commitments we have this year, we're waiting a little bit to go on our honeymoon, even though we're getting married in March. And so we just went ahead and booked our flights. We're gonna be gone for 16 days, which feels like a lot. I've already had family that's lining up to come stay at our apartment to keep Charlie company while we're gone. And it's just, we have not taken an international trip together. We have been on international trips together, but it was always for a wedding or something else, something family related, wedding. And so I'm excited for us to just take this trip for ourselves, and we're excited that we finally at least have the flights in and out of the country. The next monthly action item, also related to the honeymoon goal, was to actually research hotels. We did start to do a little bit of research about other places in Thailand that we want to go to. We're flying in and out of Bangkok, but other places we want to visit. We did not research any specific hotels, so I didn't shade this one in at all. I thought we were going to do this on our drive from San Antonio to Houston on our trip last week, and we were just both so exhausted from all the other activities that we kind of just listened to music and vegged out a little bit in the car. So not something that we've done yet, but it kind of like the gathering the testimonials. This in my mind was like a smaller step, and then I was gonna do the next big step in February. Now it's just kind of getting lumped into that step in February. And then the last monthly action step was to brainstorm categories for our New York City bucket list, and I did that. I will share them with you. They are museums/experiences, Broadway shows, other non-Broadway shows, specific bars, specific restaurants, and then specific neighborhoods that we'd like to explore. Again, I am reminding myself every time I think about this goal that New York is not going anywhere. New York is, just because you're gonna leave it doesn't mean that you can't come back to it. So I am excited about this goal and something I do still want to prioritize this year, but it also, if everything on the list that I make doesn't get done before we actually are no longer New York residents, it's also okay. We can come back and do it later. Now, shows are one of those things that is not necessarily true because shows are changing all the time, but for some of the other things, they're not going anywhere. All right, moving on to weekly action items. The first one was to do my analytics routine for Plan with Laken. That one's been working out great. In fact, it doesn't take me as long as I thought it would. And after getting it all set up and ready to go, the actual process every week is pretty easy. So far, with only 3 weeks of data, I don't feel like it's changing anything yet. I don't think I've gotten enough or learned enough to change anything. And I think I mentioned this in another video, but I'm not actually gonna set goals related to some of these analytics. Maybe I'll consider it for Q2 or Q3, but for now it's just tracking and it's just knowing where things are going, how things are moving, and if there's something I think is working or not working related to my business because of looking at these analytics. The next weekly action item was the one I immediately put a line through, and that was to go through one cookbook. Part of this was because I realized very early on that January was feeling busy and I was gonna have to let some things go. The other reason is, one of the things about Plan to Eat, the meal planning service that I'm trying, is that it is so helpful to import recipes from the internet. That is as somebody in the comments put it, that's the magic skill of Plan to Eat and where it shines, that's what they said. And so it felt kind of silly to start using the cookbooks. So I'm not saying I'm not ever gonna use my cookbooks, but for now, with prioritizing meal planning and using Plan to Eat, the meal planning service, which I will leave a link down below if you wanna check it out, is not worrying about the cookbooks so much as using recipes from the internet, which leads me into the next weekly action item, which was to import at least 3 recipes from Plan to Eat. I did that and then some. What I realized when I set this goal, I talked about this in a vlog, when I set this goal, 3 felt reasonable to me because it felt like it would take no more than 30 minutes, which actually that was probably takes 10 minutes to do 3 recipes. And that felt like a reasonable amount of time for a weekly goal. But then I decided to go ahead and switch it to be put in the recipes that you're using that week. And those are the recipes that you end up with. And if it's 3 recipes, 4 recipes, 5 recipes, whatever it is, however many dinners you cook that week, put those recipes into Plan to Eat. And I did that and then some. I actually have 20 something recipes in there now. And so I'm feeling good about that. I am still always on the hunt for more, but I kind of, at this point, I feel like we have enough in there that we've tried that each week I can do plan with the ones that I have and then maybe pull in 1 or 2 new ones as part of my planning process, which is a step in February. Spoiler alert. All right, moving on to the daily action items. My daily action items for January all have the same theme. I started very, very, very strong, and then I went out of town and did not do them while I was out of town, which most of them I intended it to be that way. And then have not been able to get back to it since I've gotten back in town. So the first 3 were all related to the No BS weight loss program that I'm doing, and that was to make, follow, and assess. And again, all 3 of these I was doing a very good job of before I went out of town. I was going to try to at least make a plan for most of the days that I was traveling. I did not think I was gonna follow it, and I had no intention really of assessing it, but I didn't even do that. And then it was kind of hard. I still haven't really gotten back into the groove since I've been back. Obviously, I'm carrying this one into February. I'm carrying 2 of the 3 into February. We'll talk about it when we get there. The last daily action item, I actually didn't even talk about in my monthly goals video because I didn't add it until after the fact. And that was to time track my business hours. So I talked about this little gizmo, it's called a Timular, I've talked about it in multiple vlogs. But what it is it's a tool to help you track your time into different categories. And I really wanted to just track the hours I was working on my business and what I was doing. And I did a really good job of that for the first 2 weeks. And then I'm also tracking the actual hours, like the sum of the hours in my Golden Coil work planner. This is the one that I definitely had intentions of doing while I was out of town. I wasn't planning to take my Timular with me, but it has an app on my phone and I was still gonna track when I worked on my business. But I never really sat down and did it for long spurts. I just did a little bit here and there, posted on Instagram, checked comments, like it was all kind of all over the place. And so I feel like I didn't do a good job. And then I came home and I'm really struggling right now, I'll be completely honest, with that all or nothing mindset, which I know I have told you about a million times. Like and this is one of those things where it's, you know, I am much better at telling you what the answer is than actually applying it to my own life, my own goals sometimes. And that's because I'm also human. And so I was doing such a good job, and now I'm like, well, now over half of January is like messed up, and it's like, it's a whole year spread, and now I'm struggling because I feel like it's a waste to do the rest of the year, which I know that that's not true. I know that it's not. So I know I need to get back into it. Definitely carrying that into February. All right, moving into February. Before I start telling you about what I set for my February goals, I want to remind you that you do not need to fill up every line on the power sheets or in the Moxie Life or whatever goal setting system that you're using. I have filled up every line for February, but there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I know that I will not get unmotivated if I have to cross things off or I don't end up shading them in. I know that I'm somebody who can stay motivated regardless of seeing everything checked off. I used to struggle with that, but that is something that I have gotten past in the last few years, especially using my power sheets. Number two is I actually don't have any other big commitments. You're all laughing at me besides planning the wedding, but I've included that in my power sheets. And so we're not going anywhere in February. We don't have any really big social commitments except maybe watching the Super Bowl. And we just have a lot of extra time in February. And so I am going all in, and I have filled up every line in February. Now, some of them are carryovers. Some of them are really small. Some of them are business related things that I am doing during business hours. So just keep that in mind when you see me fill up every line of my attending list this month, and that there is no pressure for you to also fill up every line. One of the things that I always talk about with the Patreon community, we do a monthly goal setting session with the Patreon community, and I always have them evaluate what their month looks like at a glance before they set their goals. If they have a super busy month, lots of travel, work commitments, family commitments, then I encourage them not to set as many goals. However, if you have a lighter month like I do in February, where you don't have a lot of extra outside commitments or travel, it's easier to have a lot of extra time for goals. So just something to keep in mind. Let's talk about it though. The first section is the encouraging words. And I've mentioned this before, but I use an app called Motivation. That's literally all it's called. And it's an app of quotes, motivational quotes. And you can search by different words and categories. And so I searched the word moment because one of the things which I actually put, and I'll talk about more in the priority section, but I really wanted to focus on the moment, being in the moment in February. And so I searched for the word moment, and this is the quote that jumped out at me while I was scrolling. And it is, "The best way to create a better future is to do your best at this very moment." And what I love about that quote is it not only reminds me about each moment and being in the moment, but that I'm just trying to do my best in everything, every aspect of my life. I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna show up and do what I can do in that moment, and whatever does or doesn't get done, we're gonna move on to the next moment, because that's how time works. We're going to continue to move forward. And so I just need to focus on my best in that moment and then let go of what already happened and move on. So for the top priority, I put enjoy each moment. I have been constantly reminded by a lot of you and family and friends that like this time that you're planning a wedding and like getting married and being engaged even is like, it's a very once in a lifetime. You're not gonna get this time back. And so really to soak in each moment. And I think it has been hard for us because we've been engaged for so long, postponed our wedding, that I've been kind of feeling like I'm checking off the boxes as it relates to wedding stuff. And so I just wanted to remind myself to enjoy each moment. Now, even though in February I don't really have anything wedding related, right? We did a lot in January and everything else is set up for March. But even the act of planning it, I just wanted to remind myself of enjoying the moments, wedding planning, dance, friends, Sam, life, all the things. Okay, moving on to the monthly action item. So the first monthly action item, same as last month, same as every month for the rest of the year, and that is to hit my revenue goal. I will tell you, I adjusted my revenue goal based on my January results. So what I did for the year was I made a revenue goal for each month for the whole year that adds up. It is not even every month because based on my business and my business plans, there are some months that are higher revenue numbers than others. So I made a goal for each month. And then based on my January results, which were higher, I hit more than my goal for January, I adjusted the rest of the year down a little bit based on that. So it's still proportionately the same to what I had originally mapped out, but the number is a little bit lower because of what I did in January, and I will continue to do that. So I have my revenue goal for February all set and ready to go. The next monthly action item is to get the sales pages updated. Obviously, that has a lot more steps than are captured on the power sheets, and that is kind of how my business goals are in general. I talked about that when I decided to include my business goals in my power sheets, was that it was not all gonna get captured. That's a really big task that I have in another place broken down into much tinier steps, including the step I didn't get done in January, but that is not captured right here on power sheets. Same thing with the next one, which is to update my channel trailer. If you are subscribed, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but when you go to my YouTube homepage, if you're not subscribed, there's a video that pops up that's called your channel trailer. It's like a minute. You kind of say like, here's what I'm about, here are the types of videos that I upload, and it's pretty outdated. Obviously it says that I have a corporate job, which is not true anymore, and just some other things that I want to get that channel trailer updated. The next monthly action item is my other business related goal that's on the system side of my business, and that is to automate the one-on-one onboarding. I talked about this more in the quarterly goals video. I want to get that process that I onboard my one-on-one clients to be much more automated and much less time for me. All right, my next monthly action item is related to the spending time with friends and family goal, and that is to go on at least one friend date. I was going to put this in the weekly section. I almost did. And then I thought, you know what? Let's start small, right? Like, let's not jump straight to the weekly actions. Let's start small with one friend date. Maybe I'll get more than one in, but I feel like at least with a Super Bowl, I know that I can at least check one friend date off. All right, the next couple goals are related to the birthday system goal, and the first one is to go through gift idea videos. So I saved to my like watch later folder on YouTube a ton of gift idea videos in December, but I did not watch, because that's when everybody was uploading them right for the holidays. I didn't watch them then though. And so what I thought is I'm gonna save those and watch them with birthday gift ideas, or even like next Christmas gift ideas in mind. So I have a bunch of them saved, and my goal in February is to watch those, and then I don't have it written down here, but then add any ideas I get from those videos to the gift idea list that I talked about. And then obviously I need to also do the February birthdays. I only have like 1 or 2 February birthdays. February is actually a very light month for me in terms of birthdays. But then the thing that I'm doing differently this month is actually going to be getting ahead. So I obviously didn't do this like last month. I did January and January, and I'm doing February and February this month, but I'm also gonna do March and this month. And I'm doing that for a couple reasons. One is that we're getting married, and I know that even if I put March in March, I wouldn't get it done at the beginning of the month. Number 2 is I know I have birthdays at the beginning of the month in March. Number 3, we have a lot of March birthdays, mine included, but also Sam's mom, dad, sister, stepdad are all in March, as well as me and his now wedding anniversary. So because of that, I want to do March in February. And depending on how that goes, I might continue to do that, right? And then do April and March, and so on and so forth. And then that will kind of maybe figure out the system going forward. The next monthly action item is to book our Thailand hotels, and maybe even, I didn't actually put it on here, but maybe also even the flights in between, like within the country into the different parts. Really, it's to kind of map out the itinerary and get the hotels and then maybe those flights booked. Really, any progress that we make on the honeymoon, I will feel good about this month, but I know that we probably won't make much progress on it in March because we'll be so focused on the actual wedding that I would like to get at least that thing checked off in February, because my quarterly goal for the honeymoon was book flights and hotels. And so if we can get that done in February, then I will have hit that quarterly goal and I can kind of let it go for the month of March. And then the last monthly action item is similar to the gift idea, but that is to watch meal idea videos. So same thing, I have saved a bunch of YouTube videos of meal ideas from some of my favorite meal type health focused YouTubers, and I just haven't been watching them. I just have been saving them, because normally I watch YouTube kind of as like background while I'm like getting ready or doing something else, but these I kind of want to watch while I'm like sitting by my computer, so that if it's a meal that I want to incorporate into Plan to Eat for us to incorporate into meal planning, I'm able to do that. So my monthly goal is to just like watch all those gift videos, is also to watch all of those meal videos, which basically will clear out my YouTube watch later folder. All right, moving on to weekly action items. I hardly ever fill up every line here because weekly action items are something that I really struggle with. Figuring out how to get it into my weeks, especially one of the biggest reasons I think actually is because every month for me feels different. Like there's always a week in the month that looks different than other weeks. And so I feel like weekly action items don't always fit for me, but because February, it's very simple and we're gonna be home all of February and it's like exactly 4 weeks, it kind of works out nicely. I did fill up every line. And some of these are also pretty simple and pretty short. So the first one is a digital cleanup routine. So here's where I did not take my own advice last month. So on my power sheets, I had the analytics routine. I also put a digital cleanup routine in my calendar, thinking that, like right next to the analytics one, thinking that I would just be able to just do them both, right? Like back to back. But I didn't give myself time to like figure out what the digital cleanup routine would look like. Like I was just gonna dive right in. That was dumb. It did not work. So about halfway through the month, I took it off my calendar and was like, stop trying to make this happen and make it a goal. And I immediately went ahead and wrote it on my, like I keep a running list of goal ideas in my iPad. I immediately went ahead and wrote it there and was like, you can do this next month. The next weekly action item is to do a hydrating mask. So I had my hair and makeup trial for the wedding last week, and one of the things she said was your skin is very, very dry and I need you to focus on hydration leading up to the wedding. And so you'll see I also have a daily action item related to this, but my weekly action item is to do a hydrating mask at least once a week. If I can squeeze in more than one, I probably will. The next weekly action item is to use Plan to Eat. I spent January getting it all set up and getting it filled with recipes, and now I'm going to start using it. The truth is I actually have already started using it, but I'm putting it in my power sheets to hold myself accountable to using it every single week in February, instead of just using it if I feel like or not feel like using it. Like I want it to be a routine. All right, the next 2 action steps are stemming from something that I would like to get back to doing daily, but I knew that setting up, like I originally had the idea written as like a daily item for February, but I knew that trying to jump back into it daily was going to be too difficult and too overwhelming, and I probably would end up doing it less. And that is reading before bed. Man, there was a time last year that I was so good at reading before bed, and now I just watch Netflix. And we don't even have a TV in the bedroom, but I will take my iPad with me or my phone or my computer, whatever device is charged, and watch Netflix in bed before I fall asleep. And I don't like stay up watching it. I actually fall asleep probably faster watching that than if I were to read, but I know that like the screens and I want to get back to reading before bed. So instead of trying to do it daily, I am trying to do it twice a week, and I got really specific, and so I have a line in my weekly action items for each of the days that I'm going to focus on it, and that is going to be reading before bed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that is because Monday and Wednesday I have dance, and I don't feel like reading when I get home from dance, and maybe I will never eventually like make it a fully daily thing because of dance. Maybe next month I'll implement Sundays, and then then I'll do that until dance is over, and then implement Mondays and Wednesdays. But for now, for February, I'm gonna try to do it on the weeknights that I don't have dance. So Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I like having them split out like this. That way, even if I only do it one of the 2 nights, I still get credit for the check mark. And then the last weekly action item is to brainstorm some ideas for the bucket list. This is one that probably also could have been a monthly item, but I had too many monthly items, so it ended up as a weekly item. Really, if I can just add like one thing each week, I will feel good about that. I also want to pull Sam in, so one of these might be like a brainstorming session with Sam and figuring out which ones he wants to partake in, which ones he doesn't care about. So I feel like at least getting some ideas down on paper in February is the goal. Okay, moving into the daily action items. I feel like this is gonna be a very long video because I had lots of January stuff and lots of February steps to talk about. So the first one is a carryover from January, and that is to track my time in my business, using my timular, figuring out where my time is going, not worrying about the fact that I didn't do a good job at the end of January, and just focusing on February. The next two are related to the wedding, and the first one is, it literally just says wedding. And what I mean here is to like check my wedding email. For now, it's like getting the RSVPs, who do I need to text, like getting all that situated. Is there something I can follow up on today? Like trying to do one little thing every day in February instead of trying to do it in big chunks. That's how I find I have been operating better now that at this point, all the wedding stuff is little tiny details. It's like responding to an email from the DJ. Yesterday it was ordering my bridesmaids gifts, like little things every single day. I'm not like necessarily concerned if I don't do it every single day in February, but I have it there as a daily reminder so that I at least am not, I just don't want to feel like at the end of February, I have all these little things that have piled up and now we have like a week to do them. And then the other wedding related daily item is to do my PM skincare. I'm very good about my morning skincare. I'm very good about it. I am not good about my PM skincare. And I have talked about this in vlogs. You've been hearing me talk about this for years. And it's not even just washing my face, because I've actually gotten much better about that, especially with dance, because I shower 2 nights a week when I get home. But then the rest of the PM skincare, the toners, the serums, and then most importantly, per my hair and makeup lady, is the hydration. And she was like, I want you to slather on that moisturizer or those oils every night until the wedding. And so I put it in my power sheets so that I'm holding myself accountable to it. All right, the next two are carryovers from, it feels like forever now, and that is to make and follow my 24-hour plan as part of the No BS weight loss program. You'll notice I did not put assess, and that's partly because I had other daily stuff that I wanted to put on, and partially because I feel like by expecting myself to assess the plan every day was putting more pressure on myself. I need to go back to doing a good job of making and following before I can worry about getting assessing into it. And then the last two daily items, I have them as health related, or my like lose weight goal color. Really, they're more mental health, and really they're more like specific to this month. I know that I need to have like some mental health focuses with everything going on and just the final stages of the wedding planning. And the first one is to get outside every day. And I'm not being specific about this at all. Originally, I'd written down the idea as like go for a walk every day. I don't even want to put that kind of pressure on myself. It's really just going outside and getting some fresh air. Fresh as New York City air can be, but fresh air every day. Some days that happens automatically. I'm going to dance, I'm running an errand, we're going to dinner, whatever it is, like I'm getting outside anyways, but that's not every day. There are definitely days, especially in the winter, that I don't leave the apartment because it's cold. And so even if it's just a walk around the block, or if it's nice, it's going to sit in the park and read my book or something, but trying to make sure that I get outside every day in February. And then the last one is to do a little bit of yoga every day. And this is both from like a muscles, like stretching standpoint, as well as a mental like break. I am not very good at yoga from like a focus standpoint. I get very bored and it like frustrates me. But I know that there are so many benefits to doing that every single day. And so this is also one of those action steps that I can just easily plop into my workout routine. So all I did was expanded my workout on my routinary and my morning routine for 10 minutes. So my goal is to do one 10-minute Peloton yoga class every day as part of my normal workout routine. Really, the goal is to do it every weekday. I'm not worrying about the weekends. And what I've done before in my power sheets is shaded in the weekend days when it's something I'm not trying to do. I'm not as concerned about seeing those blank spaces, so it doesn't really matter to me. And maybe in my head, the goal is really 5 times a week. And so if I miss a weekday, I might catch up on Saturday or Sunday, but I'm not trying to do something every single day. And I've said this before, our lives are changed. Like things happen that we weren't expecting. It is really hard for you to do something every single day. It is really difficult. And when we put that expectation on ourselves to do something every single day, and then we don't, and we miss a day, it is so much harder to get back on track. So giving yourself that permission to miss a day and get back to it the next day, or if it's a weekday goal, get back to it on Monday, that's kind of how I am tackling this yoga goal. Okay, that's it. I know it's a lot. I have a lot of things that I'm working on in February. And again, I know that most of these things are not big time commitments, right? I mean, some of the work things are, but I'm doing that during working hours. But most of these things are not super big time commitments, and that I can fit them into my schedule knowing what I know right now, as of the time that I'm filming this video, what I know about February. That could change tomorrow, right? Something could change and I would have to change my goals, and I'm totally okay with that. But before we all move on to the next month, I want to celebrate you and this month. So let me know down in the comments what is one thing that you accomplished in the month of January that you are super proud of. It does not have to be huge. It literally, any step, any progress that you've made towards your goals in the month of January is progress. And even if that means that you realize maybe the progress is, I had to let go of one of my goals. I realized this wasn't the year for it, or I changed one of my annual goals. Or maybe it's realizing that I am gonna start fresh in February and January didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, but it's okay because we still have 11 months out of the year. And so I'm gonna restart in February and start making progress because we still have 11 months left this year. But let me know down in the comments, even if it is a mindset shift, what is something that you are proud of from the month of January? That is gonna be it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, did not realize this was still filming. So ridiculous. I feel like I've said weekly action items like 800 times. On advice last. What was that? The next monthly action item, nope, wrong. Okay, son, you can come back now.